The Asian Cup round of 16 is here. I'm going to be giving my predictions as concisely as I can for all 8 matchups. You guys in the comments, make sure to leave your predictions, leave a like on the video, and hit subscribe if you like videos covering the Asian Cup. And make sure you check out our social media links in the description so you know all the Asian Cup live streams we're doing here on the channel. The first live stream that we're going to be doing is Indonesia versus Australia. And you know what? I think that's going to be the first round of 16 game that I preview. I'm going to be real. The Asian Cup campaign for Australia has been difficult for me to assess because on one hand, they look completely toothless in front of goal, but on the other hand, they're kind of playing the exact style of ball that I thought they were going to play, and a style of ball that is, for better or for worse, good enough to take them to at least the semis at this tournament. Australia have been monopolizing possession. They've been spamming crosses like there's no tomorrow. They're winning corner kicks, and yet they can only score 2 goals against the Indian national team. If we look at the 4 goals Australia have scored at this Asian Cup, you got a phantom penalty against Uzbekistan, never should have been called. You have a Jackson Irvine, really 2 Jackson Irvine just scrappy goals from the box. One's off an Indian goalkeeper mistake, and then a good goal from Jordan Boss. I'll give you that. So they've scored 1 good goal from 3 games. I know Australians are ready to see the back of Graham Arnold's head. They're showing him the door, but I still think they're going to get it done here. Indonesia are defensively okay, but they do leak a lot of chances. If you did not watch the game against Japan, you'll look and you'll say, wow, they only conceded 3 times, but really Japan should have had 5 or 6 that game. Outside of that, Indonesia don't really have an offense, really. It's kind of just long balls up to Marcelino and hope that he can beat 3 men off the dribble, which is not going to happen against Australia. This Australian back line is too physical, too athletic for this Indonesian hero ball to work. Even the goal against Iraq that they scored, which is definitely the best one from them this tournament, the Sayori moment of magic. I mean, phenomenal run by him. Are they really going to be able to do that again? Because they're going to need to do that again if they're going to beat Australia. Shin Tae-yong can't just throw Elkin Baggett at the 9 and think he's going to beat Harry Sutar in the air. Absolutely not. I'm kind of predicting that this ends up being the most garbage round of 16 game from a neutral perspective, from an entertainment perspective. I got Australia winning this one 2-0. I expect them to monopolize possession. I expect it to be ugly. I expect it to be wasteful. Indonesia's going to have a couple good chances this game. If they can score, they got a shot, but I don't really trust their clinicalness. I got Australia 2-0. Next up, we're going to go Uzbekistan versus Thailand, and this is a fascinating matchup just because of the profiles of the teams. Uzbekistan and Thailand combined conceded 1 goal in the group stage. That was Uzbekistan against Australia, and I'm going to maintain that was a phantom pen. The Thai scored 2, the Uzbeks scored 4, and really, this is going to be a tight affair. Anybody thinking that Uzbekistan is just going to steamroll Thailand because maybe Uzbekistan have a slightly higher profile internationally, I think you're wrong. Thailand have really impressed me. The fact that they kept a clean sheet in this group and finished 2nd is ridiculous. I mean, it's already a massive dub, this Asian Cup campaign, as far as I'm concerned. The Thailand back line and both of their goalkeepers really have looked phenomenal, but I have to say, I don't think they have the firepower needed to get it done here against Uzbekistan. If you look at the goals that Thailand have scored, it's been a messy tap-in after a horrible spill from the Kyrgyzstan goalkeeper, and then a very good counter-attacking goal. Outside of that, they created a few good chances against Saudi Arabia, were certainly the better team at the beginning of the game, and then did nothing whatsoever against Oman. And how bad do Oman look now? Now, the Thais are deceptively good in the air, but so are the Uzbeks, and I think when looking at the Uzbekistan national team, I think their back line has enough physicality and enough intelligence, and are just simply good enough to stunt the attack of Thailand, who I'm going to start calling them the Super Boys. You got Super Chak, Sufanat, and Super Chai. My keys to success for an Uzbek win are play through the middle, do not bail out Thailand by just crossing the box endlessly. Uzbekistan doesn't even have a center forward anymore, so I'm not sure that would even work if that was a strategy. And respect the Thais. Respect their pace. Respect how strong they are in the air. Play them hard because they're a very good national team. And if you take it easy thinking, oh, this is just a Southeast Asian team, Thailand's going to win. Expect Uzbekistan to have the ball and expect Thailand to look extremely dangerous on the counterattack. But at the end of the day, I think the midfield of Uzbekistan, the probably only healthy part of the team, I think it's going to be too much for Thailand, and I do have Uzbekistan winning this game 1-0. Next up, we have Saudi Arabia versus Korea, and Jesus Christ, the fact that we're getting this matchup in the round of 16, honestly, it's a great thing. Saudi Arabia have kind of looked out of ideas at this Asian Cup. They have a big goal-scoring problem. They have a 7% shot conversion rate, which is 16th at the tournament. They've tried multiple different strikers, and it's just not working. Even against a 9-man Kyrgyzstan team, they really weren't creating great chances. Salem Al-Dosari looks like he's been on cruise control mode. I don't know if he's been saving himself for the knockouts, right? Maybe he's about to win Best Player Award of the tournament, score a hat-trick against Korea. unlikely, but unless that guy steps up, I think the Saudis are in real trouble. And when you look at their group and look at the teams that they win against, I mean, Thailand, no doubt, have the most dangerous attack of the teams they face. And with all due respect to Thailand, they got a bunch of teenagers and young kids up top. The Saudis are about to go from Super Chai, who is half the time making dance videos on TikTok, to Lee Gang-in, Hwang Hee-chan, and Sung Hyun-min. And we also shouldn't forget that Saudi Arabia have not made the quarterfinals since 2007. And for an Asian giant, a perennial Asian giant with the star power they have, it's simply unacceptable. And I am not yet convinced that Roberto Mancini, 1, wants to be here, and 2, really knows what the best lineup is for this team. These two sides did play recently. It was a 1-0 victory for Korea, who were missing Lee Gang-in in that game, but also the Saudis have kind of switched up their tactics a little bit. They no longer play that 4-3-3 that they did in that loss. Now, Korea, Jesus Christ, they're going to keep playing the 4-4-2 that's leaving Hwang In-bom on an island by himself. They're going to be very vulnerable, and I think that's the biggest opportunity for the Saudis to get something here, because if there's one part of the Saudi Arabian national team that's looked good at this Asian Cup, it's that midfield. And I just simply do not expect Klinsmann to make a single adjustment heading into the knockouts. I think he sees Korea advancing to the round of 16 as a major success. And Korea defensively have been shambolic. I'm very, very concerned that they conceded 6 goals in 3 games against Bahrain, Jordan, and Malaysia. At least that is not a problem that Saudi Arabia is facing currently. They only allowed 1 goal, albeit they played teams that are offensively largely just inept. I predict this game is going to be an absolute shootout. I think the midfield's going to be wide open. I think the Saudi backline is going to struggle with the Korean attack, and I think Lee Gang-in is going to go off. So at the end of the day, I'm going to go South Korea 3, Saudi Arabia 2. Though as a Korean fan, I'm very nervous about this one. I think if the Saudis can just pick one opportunity to be clinical, you know, if Salem Al-Dosari's got one magical moment in this tournament and he decides to cash that in against Korea, South Korea's in trouble, man. Next up, we have Japan versus Bahrain, and I have to be honest, I'm a bit disturbed how quickly the Japanese fans are writing off this Bahrainian side. I do think Japan will win the game, but I don't think this is going to be very comfortable. The main reasons I think Japan are going to win this game is, number 1, I still think they have the most talented 11 at the Asian Cup, and also number 2, when I look at the goals conceded by Japan, it's not the same manner in which the Bahrainians typically score. If you want to beat Japan, the key to doing that is really being good in the air. Crosses, set pieces, corner kicks, and I'm not saying Bahrain are terrible at that, but if you look at the goals they've scored at this Asian Cup, I believe only 1 of them came off a set piece, and that was the winner against Malaysia. It wasn't really a header, it was more like a second ball off of a cross. Now, Japan needs to respect the Bahrainian wingers because they are the best players on this team. They definitely have some ballers there, but I do not think the Bahrainian midfield can compete with Japan, and I don't think they're quite compact or good enough defensively to shut down Japan. Maybe I'm looking into this too much, but I am encouraged that South Korea scored 3 against Bahrain. I don't think Japan will quite hit that one. I have Japan winning this one 2-0. Again, I think it's going to be very uncomfortable. I think Japan is going to be, sweating near the end of this game, but that's my prediction. Next up, we have Qatar versus Palestine, and I have been debating this one with myself back and forth. I'm just going to say it like this. If Palestine can score, if Dubag can get some goals, or if somebody else on the team can put it in the back of the net, they're going to beat Qatar. If we get the Palestine that played against Iran, that got absolutely bodied for 45 minutes and then couldn't hit the broadside of a barn in the second half, or the team that somehow couldn't beat 10-man UAE, they're going to lose. Because the Qataris have goal scoring in Almoez Ali and Akram Afif, arguably the best player at the Asian Cup so far. Qatar's group was trash. It was terrible. There was no attacking quality whatsoever. They basically Michael Jackson moonwalked into first place with all 9 points. That's not going to be the case against Palestine. Palestine definitely have the best attack and play the best football of any team Qatar has faced so far. And that's why I keep going back and forth on this, because at the end of the day, you need to put the ball in the back of the net. I do not see this game being 0-0 and going to penalties. I would be shocked. I think we're going to have a winner in regular time, and I think the Qataris have the better attacking players. But I think the Palestinians have a better back line. I think they have a slightly more balanced midfield. I think the Qatar midfield is basically 2 bruisers plus a thief. And when I'm trying to predict which side has possession, I'm kind of struggling to do so. I think it's going to be very, very close. I don't think this game is going to be necessarily a shootout, but I think it will be one of the most entertaining round of 16 games. Good God, I do not know what to say for this. Again, you know what? I'm going to go Palestine 2, Qatar 1. Please, Palestine, just put the ball in the back of the net and put these boys down. Next up, we have Iran versus Syria, and I hope I'm not being offensive by saying this, but I think this is the easiest to predict of all the round of 16 games. I think Iran Iran are just too powerful. They look too good in the group stage. For a Syrian team that has looked very stubborn and sound defensively, but not really potent going forward, I don't think the Syrians have enough. Of course, now that I've said that, Syria will go on to win this game 2-1. All jokes aside, I have been very impressed with Iran. The fact that they put away Palestine in 40 minutes of play, the fact that they barely tried against Hong Kong and still won that game, should have won by more, and the fact that they bullied the UAE in the manner in which they did. They look like they're poised for a run here. I know Iranians don't want to hear that because you guys think that you always choke, and maybe you will choke, but I don't think it's going to be against Syria. The Syrians really had two standout players for me in the group stage. Abdul Weiss, who I had in my team of the group stage at the right back position, and Ramadan, the left winger / left midfielder, but I don't think that's enough. At the end of the day, Syria scored 1 goal in the group stage, and it was against India. And I think we can all agree that the Iranians are just a little bit more talented than the Indian national team. The only way that Syria win this game is if they score first and then go into turtle mode, and Iran panics because they are a very emotional team, and maybe they get rattled by that and kind of play themselves out of a comeback. But what are we looking at? 5% chance of that happening? All that being said, I think this will be very comfortable for Iran. I have them winning this one 3-0, but you guys let me know in the comments. Next game we have is Tajikistan versus the UAE. And for Tajikistan, I think they've done a great job getting out of the group stage in their debut tournament. I think they've shown flashes of competency, but I still don't think this national team is very good. Yes, they made it second. Yes, it's a great achievement, but it was at the worst group of this Asian Cup, and now they're coming up against a UAE team that I think neutralizes what makes Tajikistan dangerous very well. I think Tajikistan's biggest strength has been their midfield, guys like Jalilov kind of like pinging balls around the field, but I think the UAE midfield of Ramadan and Rashid is enough to kind of put the clamps on that guy. Tajikistan also have the problem that a lot of teams at this Asian Cup have, which is they cannot score. Now, the UAE did not have a very encouraging group stage, I will grant you that, but they did play a man down against Palestine and still somehow held on to a draw. I don't know if that's more complimentary to UAE or detrimental to Palestine. You guys be the judge. But head to toe, this national team is, I think, too strong for Tajikistan. I think the Tajiks had to expend a lot of energy just to get here. I don't think they have the depth, and I think the UAE, especially up top, the individual skill, guys like Al Ghassani, Salah, Lima, Al-Amiri, it's going to be too much for Tajikistan. The Tajiks can sometimes play a bit of a high line too, and that is not what you want to do against a very pacey front three from the UAE. I think the Tajiks will still try to stick to their core and play possession football, and I think it will backfire against the UAE, especially with that high line. I think they just make them pay. My prediction for this game is UAE 2, Tajikistan 0. The final game is Iraq versus Jordan, and this is a juicy fixture, isn't it? I think most people will give Iraq the edge because they beat Japan, and that got them global attention. But the Jordanians, I don't know. I know they lost to Bahrain on the final match day, but something ain't adding up here. They absolutely put Malaysia in the air fryer, and then they had 45 very good minutes of football against South Korea, and then basically rested their best players against Bahrain. Maybe that was some 4D chess to avoid Japan, but I don't think the reward was very good getting the Iraqis. What is super fascinating about both of these teams is the quality in the attack and the midfield, because like I said, lots of firepower on both sides. Ayman Hussein, top goal scorer with 5. Mohanad Ali, a guy who I don't even know if he's going to start. Maybe Hussein starts. It doesn't matter. Ali Jassim tied for first in assists at the Asian Cup so far, but then on the Jordanian side, you have guys like Al Tamari, who has been a fiend so far. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, I'm still pissed that he didn't play against Bahrain. Imagine being a Jordanian fan, you pay for a ticket, and the man's sitting on the bench. Anyways, my personal grievances aside, they also have guys like Al-Hamardi, Yazan up top. This is going to be a shootout, folks. The Iraqi back line, as good as they are going forward, not particularly good in the back. They conceded 5 goals at the group stage, and the Jordanians, same thing. I think they got a little lucky only conceding 2 goals against Korea, even though one of those was an own goal, and against Bahrain, they should have lost by more than 1. Let's be real. Have y'all seen the tap-in that Marhoun missed? The way I see this one going down is either Iraq stomps or it goes to penalties. And you know what? I actually do think this is going to be a 2-2 Iraq win on pens. That is the video, guys. Make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed, and let me know in the comments which one of these games you're looking forward to the most. Make sure you check out our Twitter, link in the description, so you can watch all these knockout games with me and the rest of the Deadball TV crew live as they happen. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.